We now move over to South Asia, where India is stepping up diplomatic pressure at the United Nations to designate the Resistance Front, or the TRF, as a terrorist organization. The move comes days after the TRF claimed responsibility for the deadly April the 22nd terror attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. An Indian technical team is currently in New York meeting with key UN counter-terror bodies, including the 1267 Sanctions Committee, the UN Office of Counter-Terrorism and the Counter-Terrorism Committee Executive Directorate. Meanwhile, the United Nations Under-Secretary General Vladimir Koronkov and Assistant Secretary General Natalia Gurman expressed condolences for the terror attack. India has presented detailed evidence linking the TRF to Lashkar-e-Taiba, a Pakistan-based UN-prescribed terror group. Officials say the TRF initially claimed the Pahalgam attack, then withdrew that claim under pressure, likely from handlers in Pakistan. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri has criticised Pakistan's successful effort to remove the TRF's name from the UN Security Council's April 25th statement on the attack, calling it an alarming signal of state complicity. This marks the first formal Indian push at the UN against the TRF since Operation Sindoor. We're now joined by Jayant Krishna, who is a senior fellow at the CSIS, to discuss this in more detail. Jayant, thank you very much for joining us. How critical is this to recognize the TRF as a terrorist organization, both at the UN and also obviously on the world stage? How important would it be for the UN to recognize this group as a terrorist organization?
So I think it is quite important for the Resistance Front, which is acronymed as the TRF, which is some kind of an outfit of Lashkar-e-Taiba, to be declared as a terrorist outfit. So let's understand the meeting that happened between Indian diplomats and the 1267 Sanctions Committee of the UN Security Council. So what did this committee do? It essentially manages the list of sanctions against the countries where UN sanctions go. And also it monitors the implementation of the sanctions, that how effective has been the implementation, So that is what the task of this committee is. And therefore, it is very, very important that, the right messaging happens and they are listed as a terrorist outfit. Within the purview of this sanction committee, they can freeze the financial assets of the terrorist outfits. They can also prevent, the entry of or transit of these outfits through a member country, of the UN. It also can act effectively in preventing supply of arms, to this terrorist outfits which are listed there. So I think it's very, very important. And as you said, not just the UN 1267 Sanctions Committee, but all over the world, people are fed up of terrorism. Terrorism has not benefited any country anywhere, right? There are a few countries which are black sheep, which support terrorist outfits, or do not do enough to stop their, activities. But the fact is, nobody, be it China, be it the US, be it the European Union, no country or group of countries, would like to support anything that goes with terrorism, and therefore India's diplomatic efforts with lots of major countries in the world, are happening. So that people realize what Pakistan has done by way of killing of 26 tourists, in Pahalgam, and then the Operation Sindoor, which was launched, which was largely actually only the first step of Operation Sindoor, which Indian government launched against Pakistan, was not against civilians, not against army or air force. It was only targeted at the, at the terror outfits and their physical infrastructure and so on and so forth. So I think it's very, very important to my mind.
Yes, and Jayant, this obviously marks the first formal Indian push at the UN, but how have you and how do you analyse the international response to the terror attack, all the events leading from the 22nd when that terror attack happened in Jammu and Kashmir? all the way up to the ceasefire. Looking back at Operation Sindoor, how do you analyse that? How the international community viewed the entire situation?
So international community generally, remains guarded. But if you dissect any country, China, for example, right? The intensity, and China and Pakistan are supposed to be very good friends. China has already funded an economic corridor in Pakistan. It is funding lots of infrastructure and energy sector projects in Pakistan, and even supplies arms to Pakistan, right? But China has been very, very measured, in their reaction. They have not come out as strongly against India as was expected, because the fact is, if China does business with a country, it does not like the presence of terrorism and the terror outfits. So I think if you look at the US, the Secretary of State has said very clearly when he spoke to his counterparts, to the External Affairs Minister Jaishankar in India, or the Pakistan Prime Minister, while talking to the Pakistan Prime Minister, he said, among other things, this was just before the ceasefire happened, that you must stop and prevent it becoming a full-fledged war, and Pakistan must stop supporting terror outfits. So I think India's efforts have been yielding good results, diplomatic results, attributable to two things. One is the soft power of our diplomacy. And secondly, no country in the world likes terrorism, and every country has been adversely affected by terrorism. So I think these efforts are having good results. UK has also issued a statement which is tending towards India, although they are largely neutral. So I think it's bearing results, more than one would have expected.
Yes, and do you think China or other members of the P5 members, that being the United Kingdom, France, the United States, China, and Russia, could veto the designation? And how would India respond, say that would happen?
See, in this situation, things are very different. See, let me tell you, first of all, the UN Security Council's 1267 Sanctions Committee itself, it is not the first time when India has protested and said that the TRF should be declared a terrorist outfit. If you go back a couple of years, in 2023-24, India has been providing evidence to this committee that the Pakistan has been supporting not only Lashkar-e-Taiba, but Jaish-e-Mohammed, and so on and so forth. It has gone to them with solid evidence. So I think I do not see as big a problem this time of such a resolution, if it comes up, being vetoed by any of these countries that you mentioned, because of two reasons. While India has done an excellent job of interfacing with politicians, with diplomats in these countries, and sharing the reason. And secondly, no country wants terrorism to thrive at all. No country worth its salt, worth its name, wants to do that. So I would somehow feel that sanity will prevail, and these countries would perhaps not use their veto power, if such a thing comes for voting.
Jayant Krishna, thank you very much for joining us. Pleasure hearing from you. We now move to the Middle East, where in